Tony Spell, the pastor of Life Tabernacle Church, facing battery charges, accused of fighting a man on the side of Hooper Road in Central today.
This video came down my TikTok a few days ago, and I was on the fence about sharing it, but I figured why not have a conversation? Because there are so many people that say they're tired of hearing about bad pastors. And this pastor is being praised for him throwing hands in the middle of the street. I want you to hear why he said he had to get down on this 20-year-old young man, and I want you to see what happened to him afterwards. But before we get into the clips, do me a favor. Like the video so the algorithm can push it out. Turn on your notifications so that you know when I come on. Shop at CourtGenHair.com for your hair care needs. I am the founder and the owner of the brand, and I appreciate your support. Oh, and one more thing. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Now let's go.
The pastor of Life Tabernacle Church in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Pastor Tony Spell, he was arrested today for second-degree battery. Now, this happened after the 20-year-old son of an across-the-street neighbor from the church allegedly yelled out "F*** at the pastor, and the pastor had apparently just had enough. Runs across the highway, and they both engage in this altercation, physical altercation, together. Now, depending on who you talk to, you get a different story.
So while I'm working on our bus fleet, one of the men across the street is walking up and down the shoulder. He's shouting vulgarities, profanities, and very nasty words. I'm quoting him. He said, "Tony, I'm going to rape your wife. I'm going to rape all of your grandchildren. And he said, the next time you go out of town, I'm going to kill them. And what the F are you going to do about it?" End quote.
We've heard some of Pastor Tony Spell's side of the story. Now, if I had the other side, I would definitely bring it to you. I believe there are always three sides to a story: his, and the truth. Some people leave out the truth intentionally, and some people leave the truth out unintentionally. So we just have to take folks' word for what they say it is. Now, Pastor Tony Spells has said that this man and his family have been bullying him for years, and they filed police reports and called the police, and the police has done nothing about it. Well, Pastor Tony Spells was fed up on that day, and he decided to take matters into his own hands. Now, some people feel like Pastor Tony Spells was in the wrong. They're like, well, why would he just not call the police again? Why would he go all the way across the street because he claims that a man was yelling at him and saying bad things? How could he even hear that? Well, I know people love to play investigator, but sometimes we can hear far, okay? Have you ever heard a crying baby? And they all the way down in the mall somewhere, but you can hear that crying? I mean, if you got good ears, you can hear. This is my thing. If we pay close attention to the video, clearly the young man knew that the pastor was coming for his neck because he had already pulled his phone out and started recording. So there had to be something happening before that. That's my only one clue. I'm not saying that the pastor was right in this situation. I'm just saying that there's a possibility that that young man could have been yelling across the street to make the pastor upset. But I want you to hear from some other people.
A couple things you should know about this pastor before you start clapping for him.
So today, Brother Merritt, and all of you, I fulfilled the scripture. I laid hands on the sick. I don't know how much recovery they're going to have.
First, we should never boast about putting our hands on somebody that don't believe in Jesus. We shouldn't rejoice in putting our hands on anybody. You remember Jesus said when he was reviled, he did not revile back. And also, he said, turn your other cheek. But I get it. There will be situations where you can't run and you got to defend yourself. But why you boasting about it, big dog? I'm a pastor. And guess what? I would never rejoice if I got to put my hands on somebody to protect myself or my family. And at the same time, remember, this happened with the guy he put his hands on. I know some people in my community that when you put your hands on them, all they're going to do is return fire for fire. And pastor, you really want to go to war with somebody like that? Because the weapons of our warfare are not physical, they're spiritual. Second thing you need to know, I looked up their church website and they don't even believe in the Trinity. So if you're a Christian and you understand doctrine and theology, they would not be considered a church. They're actually considered heretical. They believe in oneness Pentecostalism, which says that there's not one God with three persons. It's actually just one God who manifests and molds himself and in different places, they would deny a orthodox teaching of the Bible, which is the Trinity. And I'm just saying, like, yo, be careful when you just start applauding people and somehow saying that's my Christian brother, because that doctrine they hold to was labeled a heresy. It's actually not orthodox teaching. It's not something we hold to as Christians.
I stand with Pastor Tony, and let me tell you why. You could look at that video in two ways. And the way I look at it, as if it's a neighbor that's fed up with his neighbors, okay? And you have to get down into the root of things. Pastor Thomas been having problems with these same neighbors. Something been going on. They've been going back and forth or whatever the case may be. I look at this video as a person being tired, and I'm finna put this ass whooping on him, and this is what he deserves, okay? And I'm gonna give him grace. You know what I'm saying? Because he's human. Just because they pastors don't mean that they're not humans. Everybody have a breaking point. People are tired of people picking with them and being bullies. Y'all are bullies on this internet. Bullies are everywhere. Bullies are in the bullies at school, bullies on this internet, like I said. And like I say, I'm going to give the pastor grace.
I know this is a lot, and I do want to know where you stand, but I want to show you something before you make a final decision. So let's take a look.
These pictures, also provided to us by Scott Sherwin, the father of the young man, are the end result of that brawl, which he says required his 20-year-old son to receive 5 stitches in his chin. Sherwin told the WAFBI team there's been a long-standing feud that's gone on between Spell and his family.
I'm glad we listened to God and not the governor.
Pastor Tony Spell made headlines and became nationally famous when he defied COVID restrictions during the height of the pandemic in 2020. Spell was charged with 6 misdemeanors before the Louisiana Supreme Court ruled in his favor. Spell's popularity came with defiance, as some Americans believed there was an overreach of government restrictions during the pandemic.
We've been mocked, we've been ridiculed, we've been slandered, defamed, but now we're thankful that we have finally been vindicated by the highest court in the state of Louisiana.
Arrest documents obtained by the I-Team on Tuesday showed the alleged victim admitted to shouting a profanity at Spell, who then ran across the street and a fight ensued. The arrest report notes that Spell and his attorney declined to comment and told deputies to go ahead with the booking process, which led to this mugshot and a felony charge for Pastor Tony Spell.
I face the mountain I've never faced before. That's why I call on you, Lord. I know it's been a while. Lord, please hear my prayer. I need you like I never had before.
I had to throw that in there. Now, let me just bullet point why I think that a lot of people want to take the pastor's side. First off, the dead giveaway is he's a pastor. The other thing is you have a pastor that's easy on the eyes. He's married. He has black friends. Did you see the black man who came up there to the jail? You got a pastor who's holding black babies on a bus on his website. He has a school bus that picks up people who want to come to church at 10 a.m. in the morning. You have a pastor who refused to close the doors of his church during the pandemic. He said, "Nuh-uh, not today. The Lord got us." And was willing to get arrested for it and got arrested for it. You have a pastor who can throw hands, and you got a pastor who can sing. No wonder why these people say they standing with the pastor. Woo-wee. I mean, look. It's not funny that the pastor had a fight, okay? Because I know, we just talked about being disciplined. Didn't Pastor Torrey Roberts get in the pulpit speaking on being disciplined and all of these things and teaching your children how to do X, Y, and Z? And did not come with a story. If you didn't see the video, go watch it, okay? I came with a story talking about being bullied. I spoke about, when you are sometimes not able to control yourself. And my story was a story back when I was in high school. And we are talking about adults. Okay. Sometimes it is very hard to turn the other cheek because sometimes our flesh does get the best of us, pastor or not. Now, was the pastor right for fighting? Well, according to the scripture, he was wrong, because in 1 Timothy, it says the pastor is supposed to be above reproach, the husband of one wife. He's supposed to be temperate. So he can't go out there and just lose his mind and want to fight and let his anger get the best of him. But for someone who has been bullied, and according to the pastor, that's what was happening to him. And according to the statement that the neighbors made, they were going back and forth for some years now. Something was going to blow. Now, the pastor said he made some police reports or something. The police said they don't have any reports from the pastor. Some people are saying, hey, he could have tried to make a police report and the police denied making the report, but they did show up to the scene. And that is very well possible. If you've ever had dealings with the police or even seen videos online, sometimes the police will refuse to do the report if they don't want to do the paperwork. Sometimes they'll do the report and write one sentence. So, I mean, that could be the case. But clearly both of these, neighbors have been into it for a number of years and the volcano blew up. Now, I want to see what's going to happen because the pastor has gotten him an attorney. I believe he goes to court sometime around September the 15th or something. So, we'll just keep an eye out and see if the pastor gets off or if they're going to charge him with a felony. Something tells me he's not going to get charged with a felony. Maybe a misdemeanor, something like that. But I doubt it will be a felony. So stay tuned for an update. Let me know what you think about this video in the comments below, because that is what I'm here for.